If you didn't already know, Game of Thrones is a television series that likes to make us feel feelings. On a rare occasion, they'll let us be happy, but then they'll rip that away from us by turning us into weeping, depressed losers, hugging our knees in the shower and praying that it's not true. Anyway, I'm Joe from Big Bite, and here are top 10 times that Game of Thrones made us super sad. Number 10, Ned loses his head. Sean Bean dying isn't a surprise to anyone, he does it quite a bit. A good man doing a job he didn't want to do to protect his friends and his family. Cersei is not the type of person to ever do that. She will never ever back down, ever. So when he tells her he knows who the true father of her children is, his fate is already sealed. Yes, Joffrey is the one who gave the order, but it's Cersei who put him on that block. What really puts this moment in our list though isn't the screams of Sansa or Arya being turned away. It's that resignation from Ned, the slow outward breath, the sword, the end. Number 9, the death of the Direwolves. Episode 2. Episode 2! Goddamn Joffrey, goddamn Cersei, and goddamn Robert. They're all bastards. Anyway, in the first episode of the show, the Starks come across 6 direwolf pups and their dead mother. Being the sigil of House Stark, it was decided that the children should keep them. So we now have 6 direwolves called Grey Wind, Lady, Nymeria, Summer, Shaggy Dog, and Ghost. Seeing pets killed is always disturbing, but the way it's happened to 4 of the 6 is pretty horrific. Number 8, Shay's betrayal. I think it's fair to say that Tyrion is a favourite character for everyone who watches Game of Thrones. So when during the 4th season he's accused of murdering Joffrey, there must have been a fair few who thought we'd be saying goodbye to this character. One of the key moments in Tyrion's trial was the betrayal of Shay. The prostitute turned maidservant had secretly been by Tyrion's side throughout seasons 2 and 3. He knew she was in danger after Tyrion's warning before leaving for King's Landing, but his experiences with Tysha were what made him send her away. The love he felt for her crumbled when she took to the stand to lie about him during his trial, telling the assembled court that he plotted to kill Joffrey so that Sansa would allow him into her bed. This brought out a truly vitriolic speech where he finally lets go of all the anger and hate he's held on for all his life. It's unbelievably powerful and ultimately heartbreaking. Number 7, the death of Ygritte. Ygritte became a sort of cult hero for Game of Thrones fans. More than that, she became meme-worthy. She was cool, she was a badass, she was hot, and she made Jon Snow seem a little bit cooler. So, after getting south of the wall, Jon finally has to go back to the Night's Watch to report on the wildling army. Deep down, Ygritte knows this. She's heartbroken when he leaves, but can't bring herself to kill him. Through the following episodes, we see the build to their final confrontation. Jon manages to overcome a wildling to then be confronted by Ygritte. She still cannot bring herself to kill him. Before anything can be said between the two, she's shot through the back by Ollie. The two lovers are able to share a few last words, most poignantly saying they should have stayed in that cave in the north. Number 6, the betrayal of Jon Snow. The moment that certain members of the Watch turn on him is truly awful. We all knew that Sir Alistair was an utter twat, and has been since Jon came to Castle Black, but he goes into super prick levels during season 5. Sir Alistair had been sowing discontent since Jon was made Lord Commander over him. He managed to gain enough support to take Jon out and betray him. One of those betraying bastards being that little prick Ollie. He brought Jon out, then stabbed him through the heart. Number 5, the passing of Khal Drogo. Much of Dany's story in season 1 is about her freeing herself from her brother's oppressive stewardship. Let's face it, Dany never wanted to marry Drogo, but with finding herself, she learnt to appreciate Drogo and to finally love him. The same can be said for Drogo, who sees Dany as little more than someone to bear his children, but as time goes on, his feelings turn to those of love. Great, right? Well, things start to go wrong, as is the norm in Game of Thrones. When Drogo is severely wounded, Dany turns to a witch to save him. The magic she uses keeps Drogo alive, but in body only. His mind is gone, and the price is their unborn child. Dany burns her husband's body and joins him in the flames, perfectly prepared to die with him on that pyre. Number 4, the rape of Sansa Stark. Sansa's rape is disturbing and heartbreaking for multiple reasons. However, I'm ashamed to say it, more importantly for the story is that Sansa had managed to get through the Joffrey ordeal. She was humiliated, but she got through it. She'd got through her marriage to Tyrion, who treated her well, but then she got out. She was away from King's Landing. Her crazy aunt was gone, she was safe, then Littlefinger went and tied her to Ramsay. Ramsay is basically Joffrey, but intelligent. He liked hurting people, he liked playing games. Just by looking at what he was able to do to Theon is enough to prove how messed up this guy was. So after all Sansa went through, after she thought she'd got away from it, she ends up being married to this monster. Number 3. The Red Wedding. The Red Wedding is one of the most disturbing and iconic moments in Game of Thrones history. Betrayal from the Boltons and the Freys and the murders of Catelyn Stark, Robb Stark, his wife and their unborn child. Can't get much more shocking than that, can we? The moment for me that gets the emotions going though is the Rains of Castamere. Hearing that particular Lannister song play at a wedding of a supposed ally can only mean bad things. The fate that it was thought the Starks would suffer at the Red Wedding. Number 2. Burning Princess Shireen. No. This was messed up in the extreme. I mean, what? Your army is suffering in the snow. You've had your supply lines cut. So to satisfy some ethereal being, you follow the advice of a woman who has continued to lead you along a very destructive and bloody path and burn your daughter at the stake. This makes zero sense to me. I can't understand it. Hey Stannis, you're one of the biggest piles of crap in television history, and that's saying something because I've just been speaking about Ramsay. And finally, number 1, Hodor. We should have seen this one coming. When they showed us young Hodor being able to speak, we should have known that something really horrific would have had to happen. Learning how Hodor became Hodor and his subsequent death would be hard enough, but because it's such a beloved character, it hurts just that little bit more. We broke the cardinal rule of Game of Thrones. Don't connect emotionally, because sooner or later they're going to die, and probably in a really bad way. So thanks to Game of Thrones, whenever someone asks you to hold the door for them, you're instantly going to be struck down with the pain of this moment. And that's our list. Tell us what you think about it in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I've been Joe, you've been the internet, and this has been a video from Big Bite.